Greg, your matchup coming up will be against New York Red Bulls, a team that seems to be high on their confidence levels. They haven't lost in their last 5 games. How do you prepare for that?
Well, we understand what they're about. We saw them twice in preseason. They haven't changed in a ton. They've added some players to the mix, and but they're a team that's going to put you under pressure. They're going to try to force you into mistakes and look to capitalize on the mistakes if you give them to them. So we have a good sense of that. For us, it's focusing a little bit on ourselves this week and getting off to a better start than we did the last week. The energy, the commitment, just the intensity from which we played and started the game with is important, because I think that then when we have the right mentality and the right intensity from the start, we tend to get ourselves going in a game and we tend to have better moments and make less mistakes. But I thought we got ourselves in this past game behind it a little bit, and their pressure ended up causing us some problems. So we're aware that we're going to be pressed this weekend, and we need to have good ideas on how we want to deal with it.
You've had a couple days to reflect upon the loss on the weekend. Is there anything that you can change or you can do with the team to kind of change the kind of defensive inefficiencies that have really reared their ugly head over the last month and a bit?
Yes. I mean, we're going to take a very specific look at how we start matches and make sure that everybody understands when we talk about having an aggressive start and a positive start. Those aren't just words, but we know very clearly what that means and what that looks like and what we want it to look like. Second is just on set piece stuff, making some adjustments on how we defend set pieces, how we approach it. Whether we man-to-man, zone, some hybrid of it, we will address that over the course of the week. But a lot of times it comes down to, concentration, being aggressive, attacking the ball, keeping your hands down in positions where, you don't take the chance or the risk of being called for fouls, because that's some of the situation. But it's being sharper. Yes, we're going to train them harder. We're going to talk about our setup and how that maybe needs to be different. Those are all things we can approach. But we've seen throughout the course of the year, when we start well, we typically get ourselves into the game, and we typically end up finishing well and playing solid throughout. And I just thought, again, this past match, their pressure almost surprised us. We made too many uncharacteristic mistakes, turnovers that led into waves of attack, and eventually, if you get attacked that much, you're gonna have some mistakes here or there. That's it. I mean, the other thing is, getting guys' legs back under them. It was 3 games in a week for certain guys. Ahmed in particular, who hadn't played in a couple months, playing 3 games in this league was for sure a challenge for him. But then also the introduction of 2 key guys in Michael and Josie, without even a week's full of training as a group. I thought the dynamics were a little bit off in the team. We need to address all of those things and get a clear picture moving forward.
How frustrating is it for you and the coaching staff? I mean, you're a bunch of former defenders, just to kind of see so many goals conceded and try to preach one thing and maybe not see another.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Something talked about with the group, and just making competent professional decisions, understanding risk, and when things are risky and not to take risk, and when the ball just needs to be put up the field. Just little things like that are frustrating, that I feel we need to pay more attention to. That sometimes we put ourselves in situations we don't need to, because maybe we don't assess the risk appropriately or handle situations appropriately. But for us is to address that as a group, train it, work, call it to attention, both with video and through training sessions. And guys need to step up and make individual plays when the individual play is there to be made. At the end of the day, that has to become better for us.
Greg, it appears you're working on tactics to counteract the Red Bulls' strength. Is the emphasis on kind of spreading the ball a little bit wider to use width and better serve Josie and Zeba?
Well, I mean, I think you have to look at each team in the league, regardless of whether it's the Red Bulls or anybody else, and try to get some of their tendencies as a team and understand what you're expecting, and have guys understand what their solutions are. So in terms of how we approach that, we want to have ideas and not get ourselves into bad situations. They try to create mistakes through their aggressive play, and once they create mistakes, they look to capitalize on it, right? And so we want to make sure that we have good ideas to not get ourselves into situations where we are handing them mistakes for them to attack us. So We just need to pay close attention to that over the course of the weekend. Some of that's just on an individual decision basis. Some of it is on a collective group movement basis. But all in all, we just need to be very aware of what's coming our way.
Do you believe in your defensive personnel?
I do, yeah. Because in the run of play, we don't give away a ton of chances, to be fair. Even in the game against Kansas City, I think in the run of play, we only gave away a few chances. The problem is set pieces, is continuously having to defend in large stretches and deeper in our area, and attention to detail things. When we head the ball out sideways and it leads to a throw-in into the middle of our box, that's a problem. When we just kick balls out and we're not more diligent about little things through the course of the game, it leads to opposition gaining momentum, putting things in front of your goal. And the more times you're dealing with things in and around your box, eventually something is gonna have to give. And part of that is the flip side is we need to be better with the ball. We need to hold up the ball at right times. We need to push the opposition into their half of the field and not spend so much time defending. So I think it's not just the defender's fault because at times we have defended pretty well in the run of play. We need to be better on set pieces for sure. And all of us need to be more attentive and accountable to some little things over the course of the game that sometimes put us in tough situations.
I mean, it still has to be a massive positive. You're still getting goals. 2 more goal of the week candidates. You're bringing in another goal scorer in Gomez as well. But you didn't see that precision against Kansas City. Fatigue's never an excuse, but can it be an issue, whether it be mental or physical at this stage of the season?
Sure. I think the third game in a week is always the challenging game, and you come in with a team that is aggressive and pressing, and we didn't start off well, and we got ourselves against it. So for sure, we all in all, just throughout the entire day, we weren't sharp enough, and that needs to be better. I mean, having said all of that, in terms of the defending and the set pieces, their second set piece goal is a little bit fluky, right? You could probably hit him that ball, and 1,000 times he'll skip head it, and it won't end up over the goalkeeper like that. It's a little bit unfortunate. The penalty kick, which we got to keep our hands down. But a minute and a half earlier, Sebo's in the box on the other side, fouled. Sometimes we've got to be better, no question. But sometimes the game kind of goes like that. And having said all of that, we were at 2-1 because we answered immediately on it was a great team goal. We were at 2-1, not playing our best, and in the second half we created 2 or 3 chances that we should have equalized. And probably should have got something out of the game on what I would call was not one of our best days for sure. And we were still very much in the game. So at the end of the day, we need more guys to have good days. And if we have more guys have good days than we did on the weekend, we know we're going to be in a good situation. It just, between team dynamics, guys coming in, and guys being fatigued, I just thought we were a little bit off and not sharp enough on the day to get a result against a good team, a stingy team. Who knows very much who they are and is committed for 90 minutes to doing what they do, and they're tough to beat, as we've seen. So having said all that, on not our best day, we still could have got something out of the game, and maybe it should have at some point.
Greg, do you need to get Josie more involved in the attack? Do you need to get him some more support?
Yes.
He was very isolated on Saturday.
Yeah, yes. I mean, Josie needs to be more involved. Some of that is us, some of that is Josie, some of that is everything. But he's a key player for us, and we need to get him into good spots in and around the goal. We need to find him, and he needs to hold up the ball for us because that's what he is. He's big, strong, and powerful, and needs to hold things up for us, which means we need to find him with good balls so that he can. And then we need to get him in front of the goal making good runs, and we need to get good service in the area, and we need to get him off the mark where he starts finding the back of the net, because goal scorers, they get a good feeling when they see the ball hit the back of the net. We need to, between him and us, we need to get him going, and my hope is this weekend going to his former club in one of his hometowns and what we would describe as a big match against a rival in their conference, is that he'll be highly motivated, and we can likewise support him, and we can get him those opportunities.
Just some news and notes from today's training. It appears as though that Damien wasn't here training with the team. Is everything all right with him?
Damien's doing okay. We're checking. Last week he was having a quadricep problem, and that's why we took him out in the last part of that game. So it's assessing him sort of day to day until we get a good sense of exactly when and how long he might be out. We're hopeful for the weekend, but we're not positive on that. We'll see how he progresses and what the MRIs and all that kind of say. But we took him out in the last game because he was having some upper quad sort of strain feelings, if you will.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Herc will be in this evening, so he'll be in training with us tomorrow. We'll integrate him into things. We'll see physically where he's at. You know, we've had our discussions with him, but we'll get him out and see where he's at. And he's got to earn his spot in the 18 and in the team like everybody else. He's a pro. He understands that. But we look forward to having him in and you know, having another competitor on our roster.
So he's a possibility, at least for the bench on Saturday?
Yes, he's a possibility. Yep.
Thanks.
Okay.